Right, hey, what's up, everyone? Here we are, hole 18. And just trying to make sure that this is on. It looks like it is. Now, what I'm thinking, especially with those high branches, first thing that you're definitely going to see me do is automatic gold high tee. This back nine is really set up for low scores. So there's going to be some ridiculous low scores. What is the stock here? 15? The stock round here is 15, which is crazy. It's crazy because I should have had an eagle on that hole. I shouldn't have went in the water on the one hole. So I'm already at 13 and there's another drivable here. So the stock round on this back nine is 15 under. There is going to be potential for a low score here. There's definitely going to be some 16s popping up in probably just a few days, I feel. And if there was ever a setup that could go 17 very easily, or even 18, I could reasonably see that happen on this setup. So we are heading into an upslope. What I'm thinking, what I'll typically do here for a go-to is we're going to go javelin. We're going to bring it in with the upslope. What that's going to allow me to do is kind of underplay this. It's going to allow me to, really kind of dial this shot in and potentially get a hole out here. Now, what I can see, especially with this upslope, never going to make it. So let's say the standard 6-wood typically lands about 229 per my Excel sheet. This is not going to make it here to the 229. It's going to be far over that. I'm thinking 240, 245, somewhere in that with the gold high tee. As you can see, the 242 number switches to 254 on the screen. So 254, at least 244, 243 of that is going to be carry. So with that in mind, it's going to hit the upslope and it's just going to kind of dead right into it. So we're going to need to club up. We're going to need to go up to the 5-wood here. But what this loft should do is it should get it over all these bamboo bushes. So this really should help me to lift the ball and we shouldn't have to worry. You can see I'm kind of intentionally underplaying this wind. You can see I'm barely playing it off that G, which is pretty much the straight. I'm trying to land it left and then roll it out. And with an upslope of 7, it's almost going to come in sideways. Like I'm thinking like a 30-degree angle. So it's gonna still go up just a little bit, but it's really gonna shoot hard off into the right. So you really need to have distance control absolutely perfect here. So this 5-wood typically is going to land 245-ish, but then you can see the 259 switches to 271. I'm going to have at least 12 extra yards of carry on that. So I'm thinking 257 minimum. With this, with the added loft, maybe even 270, because I have added loft because I'm using a high tee. So 270 is probably my typical land zone. We're down 3 miles per hour. That's going to add at least 2 yards to that. So I'm thinking 272. I'm already past the hole with 100% shot here. But the question is, how much do I come off? Because there's so much upslope, there's not going to be a lot of rollout. So I'm thinking somewhere in the 2 to 3% range. I really want to kind of land this maybe about no. It says 261 to the pin. So I'm going to have to come off. So I was mentioning that I'm probably at where for the, did I say this is going to be right? Well, it's probably, oh no, yeah, that's about right. So I'm right in kind of like the 261-ish maybe for the land zone. And I want to probably land this maybe 6 yards short of that. So I'm thinking about 6% off here. Or no, not 6%, but 6-ish yards, which is going to equate to 2.5%, 3. So that's kind of the range that I'm thinking about here. And you can see that looks pretty good for a pull down. I might just stick with that. And as I mentioned, 2 to 3%. All right, so that's probably almost a solid 3%. This is probably almost exactly 97. So let's just go with this. see if it's right. One of the biggest things that you'll want to do is make sure, when you're pulling up, that you are pulling up as close to the G as possible, because there's not a lot of room for error. And it looks like my distance control is pretty good. I'm not even jumping up the hill. A good chance there for great shot points. You're going to see I'm just a little bit short, but it almost played out exactly how I anticipated it, other than it kicked harder to the right than I even thought. So if I would have thought it was only going to run out that more, I would have definitely gave that 1 more percent. 1 more percent, I would have, maybe made it. And at the very least would have had more great shot points on top of what I already have. But you can see here, again, another eagle. For a first playthrough, this round is acceptable, especially with all the great shot points. I was able to get a lot of points there for the first. And again, I can't stress enough how just understanding the game, even seeing that for the first time, we're able to really give that a run and a decent score, because we're just basically using our course knowledge for how the balls are typically going to roll out just based on the numbers on the screen. So you'll see that I use those numbers on the left map all the time. That's what I rely on to play. And, I still virtually play pretty on feel. And I use those distances to my advantages. So anything I see on the map, I'm essentially just using that as kind of my base. And then I'll start to factor in, okay, how's this going to respond because of the slope, uphill versus downhill? How much extra carry am I going to get? And then start to factor in the wind after I've figured out what my 100% shot is going to be. That's the point. What is the 100% shot typically going to roll out in this wind? That's what I'm always trying to do. And you'll see I use a lot of javelins to make these rounds possible. So, I can't stress that enough. When you do that, you really make the game a lot easier on yourself. And you can really I could have, especially with just a little bit more understanding, could have had, quite a few more great shot points there. Because I had, a lot of shots really dialed there that really just were right on the edge. If I just had just a little bit better feel, especially looking at holes like 18, I expected that to actually run out to the hole, and then it just really kind of died. So, but that's something that I know from next time. So for next time, I can try to land that a little bit tighter. I'll try to land it maybe 3 yards short, and then it's essentially just going to just trickle up that hill and then bounce to the side. Let's say hypothetically that wind was in the face on 18. Then I need to even kind of close that distance down a little bit more. Maybe I need to land it 1.5 yards short, and then it's almost going to come in sideways, because the wind effect on a headwind is just going to kind of make that ball turn even harder to the right. I feel like, so I anticipated the angle was going to be roughly maybe 30, 35 degrees, and my shot probably came in more like 45, 50 degrees. So it really cuts. And if that was a tailwind, it would even be harder to the right. We're thinking 65, 70 degrees. It's almost straight sideways, where, a 90-degree turn would be. So those are the types of concepts that you want to be thinking about. Hopefully you guys find this helpful. Good luck out there. Let me know how it goes, and take care. See you guys next time.